Hello, thanks for joining us here on the West London Sport YouTube channel. I'm Dan Bennett here with Ian McCullough, my West London Sport colleague, and former QPR striker Kevin Gallen. We're filming this the day after QPR's 2-2 draw with Middlesbrough. Wasn't the best game from Rangers' perspective. I mean, Mark Warburton admitted it in the press conference after. He said that QPR rode their luck at times, said they didn't really start the game well enough. And, all credit to Middlesbrough, they were really impressive. They put in a really good performance, but wasn't wasn't QPR anywhere near their best really, and I think they'll be coming away from that game probably quite pleased that they managed to at least get a point out of it. Do you agree with that, Kev? And how did you see it last night?
I thought it was a good game, end to end. I was impressed with Middlesbrough. They played really well. I think that's sort of, I would say, maybe the best team I've seen down at QPR this season.
I'd agree. I thought that during the game, I thought they were probably the best I've seen.
I can't remember anyone sort of second half. They were strong. They had the manager Chris Wilder's done a really good job there. Sort of, he has transformed them from in the last few months, hasn't he? So end of the day, it's a point, still a point gained. Could have been worse. We dug in. We got that point. Done some good stuff. Scored a great first goal by Chair, and Willock done well to find him on the edge of the box, which is good at Willock and Chair sort of together. They sort of have a bit of a, they like passing to each other. And that was a prime example of them passing to each other and a fine finish by Chair. But yeah, we've done well to hang on in there, I think, at the end. And so I think it's a good point on the grand scheme of things, because I was actually very impressed by Middlesbrough.
Yeah, it was good to see Chair back, wasn't it? After obviously going away to AFCON, not really playing, but I thought he was really lively, like especially first half. Obviously had that chance, didn't he, before he scored, where it sort of come to him on the volley or half volley, whatever it was, and he just shot past the post. But I thought he was like as good, like what we've been used to seeing all season, really. Obviously came off after about an hour or whatever it was, because Warburton said after the game that he had to kind of look after him if he wants to play in the next sort of couple of games, if midweek games coming up. But thought he's really good. And yeah, like say, Kev, I mean, they linked up really well, didn't they, Willock and Chair? And you kind of forget how big a player Chair is for QPR, don't you? Obviously, Willock did so well when he was away, but sort of last night was a good reminder of that, I think.
Yeah, they do link up very well. And I mean, I think that team that Mark Warburton picked last night, I would say that is probably the strongest team.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was going to pick a team for QPR last night with everyone available, I would have probably picked that team as well. And I don't know what you guys would have thought, but I think that pretty much is our strongest 11, unless you go with two up front and you either play Chair or Willock in behind. But I think that sort of system and that lineup suits us best. And but I keep saying, Middlesbrough were very good, passed it well, excellent work rate. So good game, really good, entertaining game. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. I actually tweeted out before the game. I thought that was probably QPR's strongest team available, apart from maybe Dieng in goal. But we won't start that again because we had that debate already last week. Yep.
I'll take that back, Ian. Sorry.
You changed your mind?
Yeah. No, not necessarily, because I thought Marshall had a very good game.
Yeah, he did well. He did really well.
About that, Dieng is back. Is he actually back, or is he back in the training? Was he sub last time?
No, okay, so back this morning apparently.
Okay, so yeah, well, I mean, that's up to that's the decision of the manager who's going to play in goal. But considering Dieng wasn't available, that would have been the best team. I would have picked the starting lineup for that game last night. I think that's our best 11 going forward, and hopefully keep everyone fit and healthy, and then have a good run in.
Yeah, do you agree with that, Ian, as well? That was probably the strongest team last night. I mean, considering it was the strongest team, obviously it wasn't a great performance. There was, like I said at the start of the video, not near their best. I mean, sort of midfield, they struggled a little bit as well, didn't they? I mean, what were your thoughts?
I think you have to give credit to the other team sometimes.
Yeah.
I thought, I really rate Wilder. I think he's a fantastic manager, and he's really interesting for what he did. Your kind of managers tend to kind of try and take out the attacking players, but he actually made a point of getting that giant Matt Crook. So I don't think he's a very good player, but he's a big lump and he runs around a lot, and just stick to Sam Field. And I think it was really effective. I thought Sam Field had a really good game, but he had a real battle on his hands with that Crooks. He just followed him everywhere. And that Rangers sort of, it wasn't really Johansson's kind of game in many ways. He looked a bit off the pace. I know the manager said he had a stomach upset afterwards.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean,
he did look off
some
the
sort of
pace.
impact.
And I think when Hendrick come on the midfield, they kind of got it back a little bit because they were getting overrun in the middle of the park. Someone afterwards I was talking to, and I don't necessarily agree with him, but he did make it was kind of a point that was a bit valid, that can you have Johansson, Chair and Willock in the same team? You know, should you play two more sort of natural centre midfielders? Is Johansson more of a 10 than a 7, so to speak? It's, you know, I think Johansson, if he's fit, he should play. But, you know, Amos has done well and was unlucky to be dropped. And, you know, you've got Hendrick there as well, gives you some real options off the bench because really, let's be frank about it, Middlesbrough gifted QPR the second goal, and Rangers didn't really threaten them after that. It was sort of, I wouldn't say they were hanging on, but, you know, Middlesbrough certainly looked the more likely to score, and it wasn't really a surprise when they did.
I mean, they put them under a lot of pressure during that second half, Middlesbrough put QPR under a lot of pressure in that second half. I thought they were really impressive, but kind of injuries that happened towards the end of the game, I think, kind of took the sting out of it. And obviously they had to finish with 10 men because one of the guys they brought on looked like quite a bad injury, which kind of took the sting out of it. And I think it sort of sealed the point for QPR. But I think you can play Johansson, Chair and Willock in the same team. I think it's worked a lot this season, but I think you're right. It wasn't the best game from last season. He was quite stoppy. I don't know how much the stomach bug was bothering him. You feel like if it bothered him that much, maybe he shouldn't have played. But there's a few kind of sloppy passes and stuff like that. But you mentioned Hendrick there, Ian. I mean, I thought he was like really encouraging when he came on. He played that long ball over the top to Adoma that he almost got on the end of. I mean, he could potentially maybe even like push for his position, do you think, in the coming weeks?
It's a nice option to have, isn't he? Because he's a good player, you know. And as I mentioned, Amos as well, he's not done a lot wrong, has he? He was really good against Reading. He was probably played pretty well in the first half against Peterborough before he got taken off on last Saturday. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, particularly midfield, you go for a horses for courses approach. You play Johansson in some games, Hendrick in another. It just, I don't know. What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I think the horses for courses is right. I mean, they might, if you're going to play like away from home and you're going to play Chair and Willock behind the striker, they might go a little bit more solid in the midfield and have maybe sort of, like you said, maybe a Field and an Amos where you get a little bit more legs. But, you know, it'd be difficult to drop Johansson. Not only is the captain, but he's a very composed and steadying influence on the players and the team. So I mean, it's a difficult one. And that's another, you know, we've got options in midfield, and we talked about this the other week where, you know, I didn't really feel that we needed another midfield player, but we have got him in now, Hendrick, and he'll be wanting to play, and he won't be coming down from the Premiership not to play. And wouldn't be surprised maybe if you might see Field and Hendrick start on Saturday, and might give Johansson a rest because away from home, and then play with the two and obviously Willock and Chair and the centre forward. So, you know, he's got really good options at the moment, and as you said, the horses for courses. It's a good difficulty to have, isn't it? I mean, when you've got a squad of really good players, and it's better than having like no players. When you look around and say, "I've got no players," we've got loads of good players, and he's just got to get the right formula and the right team. And I would say that, you know, there will be times when he will change it and maybe go a little bit more solid in midfield against teams that he feels that are more of a threat than other teams. So yeah, it's a good option. It's good options for the managers to have, I feel.
Well, I thought the last games he's been really good. I thought in many ways that game last night felt more like a Premier League standard game, a sort of lower end Premier League game. The intensity. I mean, you certainly noticed a difference in that match than say when Reading played a few weeks ago and Birmingham, games like that. It was two good teams, and I thought Field and the lad Crooks had a real battle there. But I mean, your brother Steve, I know he had Field at Charlton. Kev, did you know much about him before he came to QPR?
Yeah, I mean, he said he'd done well at Charlton. I don't even he sort of said is Charlton's pitch is a lot bigger than QPR's, and he was just a little bit questioned whether he's got the mobility and legs. QPR's, it's a tight pitch. Suited me a lot, to be honest. And it's a tight pitch, and you get on the bigger pitches, but QPR got a system where Field sort of plays in front of the back three, and he does a good job. And he don't really I'm not saying he just stands there, but he's there. He's always in that sort of area, and his positional play has been good in the last few games that I've watched. But also he gives you height for set pieces as well, for defending, and that's important in the Championship. People, if you've got 3 big centre halves, then you've got Lyndon Dykes to come back as well, and then you've got Field. You've got 5, and then Wallace ain't the smallest either. So you've got 5, 6 big uns for defenders. Also for attacking set pieces as well. So, a threat going forward. So I see that Field will be playing, I'd say, the majority of the games, because not only is he doing well, but he's a good protection for the centre halves, and he's also there for set pieces, defending and attacking.
I think it was a weird game. I mean, like you said, Ian, there was a lot of quality in it. It did resemble some Premier League football probably at times, but I suppose the thing that wasn't Premier League about it was the mistakes, from both teams, because QPR will look at both of their goals and say they were easily avoidable. In the first one, Jimmy, it wasn't all his fault, because I think they should probably get the ball clear before it comes to Dunn, but he had a good chance to clear that ball. Really, probably should have made contact with it, and quite an easy finish once he missed that ball. And then the second one, felt a bit sorry for Adoma, really. I mean, he's just got to get something on it. Probably could have approached it a little bit differently, but the kind of build-up play that Middlesbrough had before that game in Warburton was like screaming to get up and press them higher, and they just couldn't seem to get the ball back. And obviously Wallace gets nutmegged out on the right, and that kind of leads to the goal. What did you make of the goals QPR conceded, Kev? That's frustrating, I suppose, isn't it? Like I said, it's just avoidable.
All goals are avoidable. Jerry Francis used to say every goal conceded or scored, or he used to say that there's always 3 mistakes in there. Maybe not 3 big ones, maybe 3 little ones. He should have headed it there, should have cleared his lines there. Then it comes back in. I mean, only the goal last night that QPR scored for a second, that ain't 3. That's not 3 mistakes. That's just a blatant mistake by Joe Lumley to give us the goal. But in general, there's usually a few mistakes. Should have cleared it. Yeah. Should have cleared it done. Do I feel blame Adoma? No, not one bit. Ball's flashed across the face. If he don't, probably the geezer behind him scores, doesn't he? So look, it's 100 mile an hour out there, and you're just thinking, I need to get something on this, and unfortunately it comes off the wrong side of his boot and it goes into the goal. Unfortunate. You can't. These things happen. It's not the first time that's happened, is it? And it's not going to be the last. But like I said, look, all goals are avoidable. Someone's made some mistakes, and the better teams make the less mistakes at the back. And QPR have been really good this season regarding not making that many mistakes.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to some predictions then. Barnsley away next. Yeah, go on, Ian.
I mean, that Jimmy Dunn will get the blame for that first goal, but it was a terrible header out from Barbe.
Yeah,
it was straight to a Middlesbrough player. That's got to be headed out that way or that way, not straight out. And I think they'll build up to the second one. I mean, Marshall done really well last night. Some great saves. I just don't like keepers that punch the ball. Catch the ball. You catch the ball, it takes the sting out of the game a little bit, and he's punching it out. It's just coming back in. You sometimes just, if you can't put your foot on the ball in the middle of the park, catch the ball. Just, start again. It just felt like that. They couldn't get the ball. They couldn't get the ball away, and it just felt inevitable that Middlesbrough were going to score. And I thought that was the kid on the right for Middlesbrough is a really good player. Isaac Jones. Is it Isaac? Isaiah Jones. Yeah, I thought he was very good. Dunn's got to clear it, but I think you look at moments that in lead up to goals as to why they were scored, rather than actually just pin the blame on one bloke because he didn't clear the ball properly. I think and please can. Joe and Barbe taking corners. Hopefully that experiment will never be seen again. Centre half taking corners. It shouldn't be happening.
We'll see,
You need Johansson on the field to take a corner.
Yeah, I agree with you. He should be heading them in. I used to take corners in. I used to hate it because I never get the chance to head it in. I might nick 2 goals a season just
exactly.
standing keeper. So get the
Harry.
So Harry Kane taking corners.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Harry Kane taking corners. What was
taking the corners? He must have been absolutely devastated. He's thinking, I could score from here if someone takes it and puts it on my head. Yeah, get the midfielders or a winger to take a corner.
Yeah. All right. Well, Barnsley away next for QPR. Another one of your former teams, Kev. Didn't play loads of games, did you, for them? But a little bit of a spell at Barnsley. They've struggled.
Yeah.
This season, Barnsley a lot. Only 2 wins all year. Really, really poor from them. Destined for relegation, unfortunately. But played well against QPR earlier in the season. Weirdly enough, they went 2-0 up, but only managed to get a draw. But I'm guessing you're thinking a win for this one, Kev, against your former club, Barnsley. That is.
Well, yeah. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I mean, like, I always sort of look when you ask me these predictions, I sort of think to myself, well, we've got better players than them, so then we should win. I know that's like basic, and it doesn't really happen all the time, but I do believe QPR have got better players than Barnsley on the team sheet. Also in the league position, we are having a much better season. But it's that one where, over the years where QPR have gone up north, and I think we've done it against Rotherham a few years ago. They hadn't won a game all season, and we come up and give them 3 points. So I'm a little bit wary of that, but I still believe that we will win. I think we've got enough quality. I was a little bit disappointed in Lyndon Dykes last night. I didn't think he did enough. And I was really sort of last week sort of excited where he scored those 2 goals against Reading, and I thought, this is his chance now, get on a goal scoring run, which he did last season. And I heard he didn't play great. I didn't go to Peterborough, Graham. I heard he weren't great against Peterborough, and I didn't think he was too great yesterday. So this is an opportunity now for Lyndon Dykes to against a team that's really struggling to get back on the score sheet and get his confidence going. So I'm going to go, after that waffling, 2-1 QPR, and Lyndon Dykes to score 1 of the goals.
What it's all about, mate. We need plenty of waffling. That's what we're here for. I think
that is my game.
Yeah, that's why we get you on, mate. I think Dykes did all right. I think he was good. He won quite good in the air. Won that flick on for Chair, but yeah, like you say, didn't really threaten the goal enough. What are you saying for Barnsley, Ian?
Can I just ask him about that? Because I thought he did really well for the second goal. It was his chasing down on the left that kind of putting him under pressure early that kind of led to the ball being played across. I think he deserves a little bit of credit for that. But I'm just wondering, is it players of his size and stature? Is it a case of they kind of develop later than sort of in their late 20s? Because I look at him sometimes and I think you've got to get the ball's coming to him. He's got to hold that up or win the foul or do something. Yeah. He's trying to, he did one last night. He kind of hooked the ball over his shoulder, and you're like, mate, just hold the ball up. Just hold the guy off. And is that something that I guess you can't really teach that sort of experience? Is that where he is as a player, do you think?
Well, Lyndon Dykes is a big lad. What is he? 6'2", 6'3", and usually 6'2", 6'3" centre forwards sort of are not as mobile as him because he's got good mobility for a big man because he can run. When he opens his legs, he gets in his stride. He's got good. So he's like, is Lyndon Dykes sort of playing a little bit like a smaller? I mean, he's not playing his stature where, a big centre forward just stands there, lets the ball, wins his headers, knocks it, gets to the far post, or gets it into his chest, like you said, holds it, lays it, gets in the box. Where Lyndon Dykes is a bit of everything at the moment, where he'll go into channels. Do you know what I mean? He's sometimes I feel like he plays a little bit like a small striker, when maybe when he might lose a little bit of his mobility when he gets older, he might just sort of stand and hold his position, hit me, and I'll lay it and I'll get in the box. Yeah, it's a difficult one for him, but because he has got good mobility and he will chase and he's got good athleticism and he's got good energy. But sometimes I feel, when the ball comes up, just make it stick, lay it off, get in the box. And that's all you need when you're playing centre forward. And there's always a stage in a match, and a centre forward has to hold the ball up back to goal, lean into the centre halves and hold it. Every centre forward has to do that quite a few times in a match. And when you're like under a bit of pressure and the ball comes up, you have to make that ball stick, hold it, and then the whole team can get up the pitch and support you. So, but, you know, good opportunity for him again against Barnsley. Not, like I said, not the greatest. They haven't won, what, for 15 games or something?
I mean, they've only won twice all year. So
opportunity for any of the strikers to play thinking, do you know what, I can get a goal here, nick a couple of goals, hopefully. It's going to be a tough game. You've got to weather the storm. They're going to come out fighting for the first 10, 15 minutes, and QPR keep the ball, quieten the crowd down, and then just get into their way of playing. And I think we'll be good enough to win that game.
Yeah. What are you saying for Ian?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that thing with QPR. You think, our team haven't won for ages. Are they going to win? But I think this particular team has kind of got enough credits in the bank. You think away from home, they've been pretty good. They've beaten poor teams like Birmingham, Bristol City away from home pretty comfortably. You know, if they should win, they should win. You know, there shouldn't be an issue really. They were decent early in the season. Barnsley actually down at Rangers. They've kind of fallen away terribly, but they still got. I mean, that Corley Woodrow's quite a good player. Morris, he's quite. But they lost their manager. They've lost a lot of players from last year, and changing managers. It just they look doomed, don't they? When you're the bottom of the table behind a team that have been docked 21 points, it kind of shows where you are as a team, really, doesn't it? So I'd put Rangers to. I'll go with 2-0.
Yeah, no, it's not good times to be a Barnsley fan. Well, I'm going to copy Ian and go 2-0, but I'm a bit wary. Obviously, last time we all did our predictions when Ben was here. We all predicted they'd beat Peterborough and then in the FA Cup, and then look what happened. But I am going to go for a win. I do think they'll win. I'm going to go 2-0 as well. Maybe Willock and Dykes on the score sheet. I think, there is always that little thing you're worried about where if the team hasn't won for ages, then you go up there. There's always that, always worries you a little bit more than if they're on a good run sometimes. But I do think QPR will have enough to beat them, so I'm going to go 2-0 as well. Great. Thanks for watching. Let us know what your prediction for the game is in the comments below, and we'll be back with another video soon.